Good evening. It is August 5th tonight. We are starting in Ezra. Um, Ezra 1 1 through 270. First Corinthians, we're starting in First Corinthians. 1 Corinthians 1:18 through 2 and 5. Psalms 27 7 through 14, and Proverbs 20:22 and 23. We'd like to do the Lord's Prayer before we get started, so if you will join in with me, greatly appreciate it. Our Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. Forgive us our trespasses as we forgive those who trespass against us. Lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, the power, the glory, forever and ever. Amen. Ezra 1 1 through 270. In the first year of Cyrus, king of Persia, this fulfilled the message of God preached by Jeremiah. God prodded Cyrus, king of Persia, to make an official announcement throughout his kingdom. He wrote it out as follows: From Cyrus, king of Persia, a proclamation: God, the God of heavens, has given me all the kingdoms of the earth. He has also assigned me to build a temple of worship in Jerusalem, Judah. Who among you belongs to his people? God be with you. Go to Jerusalem, which is in Judah, and build the temple of God, the God of Israel, Jerusalem's God. Those who stay behind, wherever that happen to live, will support them with silver, gold, tools, and pack animals, along with freewill offerings for the temple of God in Jerusalem. The heads of the families of Judah and Benjamin, along with the priests and the Levites, everyone in fact God prodded, set out to build the temple of God in Jerusalem. Their neighbors rallied behind them enthusiastically with silver, gold, tools, pack animals, expensive gifts over and above these freewill offerings. Also, King Cyrus turned over to them all the vessels and utensils from the temple of God that Nebuchadnezzar had hauled from Jerusalem and put in the temple of his gods. Cyrus, king of Persia, put Mithridath, the treasurer, in charge of transfer. He provided full inventory of Sheshbazzar, the prince of Judah, including the following: 30 gold dishes, 1,000 silver dishes, 29 silver plates, 30 gold bowls, 410 duplicate silver bowls, 1,000 miscellaneous items. All told, there were 5,400 gold and silver articles that Sheshbazzar took with him, and he brought the exiles back from Babylon to Jerusalem. These are the people from the province who now returned to the captivity exiles from Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had carried off captive. They returned to Jerusalem and Judah, each of his hometown. They came in company with Zerubbabel. I'm surprised I even got that one right. Jeshua, Nehemiah, Sarah, Reliah, Mordecai, Bilshan, Mizpar, Bigval, Rum, and Bana. The numbers of the returning Israelites by family of origins were as follows. Bear with me. Pharaoh's 2,172, Sheptath 372, Erah 775, Path Moab, sons of Jeshua and Joab 2,812, Elam 1,254, Zatu 945, Zaka 760, Bani 642, Babi 623, Asgad 1,222, Adakim 666, Big Val 2,056, Adin 454, Ater son of Hezekiah 98, Bazi 323, Jorah 112, Hashem 223, Gibar 95. Israelites identified by place of origin were as follows: Bethlehem 125, Netapath 56, Anathal 128, Asmath 42, Kira Jearim, Kirpath, and Beroth 743, Ramah and Geba 621, Michmash 122, Bethel and Ai 223, Nebo 52, Magbish 156, Elam the other one 1,254, Haram 390, Lod, Hadid, and Onan 725, Jericho 345, Sina 3,630, priestly families: Jediah, sons of Jeshua 972, Imer 1,052, Peshur 1,247, Hiram 1,017, Levitical families: Jeshua and Kedem, sons of Hodavah 74, singers: Asphah family line 128, security guard families: Shulam, Ater, Talmon, Ikab, Hatat, and Shebal 139, families of the temple support staff: Zia, Hashfua, Teroth, Keros, Shia, Padon, Lebna, Hagabath, Ekbab, Hagab, Shilama, Hannah, Gidel, Gehar, Ria, Rezin, Nakoda, Jazim. Oh, we're almost done with the name. No, we're not. Got a ways. Uzzah, Pesha, Bezel, Asna, Menem, Nephisim, Bakba, Hakabpha, Harhu, Bazul, Mahida, Harsha, Barkos, Shashira, Tema, Nazar, Hepatah. Families of Solomon's servants: Sotai, Hassaphereth, Peruda, Jela, Darkon, Gidel, Sheptath, Heptal, Pokereth, Hazabim, and Ami. Temple support staff of Solomon's servants added up to 392. Though these are those who came from Tel Mea, Tel Hamrash, Gareb, Adon, and Imer. They weren't able to prove their ancestry, whether they were true Israelites or not. Deliah, Toba, Nakoda, 652 in all. Likewise, these were the priestly families: Hobiah, Hakaz, Brasilia, who had married a daughter of Brasilia the Gileadite and took their name. They had thoroughly searched for their family records but couldn't find them. And they were so barred from priestly work as ritual and unclean. The governor ruled that they could not eat from the holy food until the priest could determine their status with Urim and Thummim. The total count of the congregation was 42,360, and that did not include male or female slaves, which numbered 7,337. There were also 200 males and female singers, and they had 736 horses, 245 mules, 435 camels, and 6,720 donkeys. Some of the heads of the families are arriving at the temple of God in Jerusalem made freewill offerings toward the rebuilding of the temple of God on its site. They gave to the building fund as they were able, and about 1,100 pounds of gold and 3 tons of silver and 1,000 priestly robes. The priests, Levites, and some of the people lived in Jerusalem. The singers, security guards, and temple staff support staff found places in their hometowns. All the Israelites found a place to live. The breakdown of Ezra 1:1 through 2:70. God keeps his promises. After 70 years in exile, he moves the heart of King Cyrus to follow the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem and rebuild the temple. This wasn't just a political decision, it was God's sovereign hand fulfilling what he had spoken through the prophets. Thousands choose to leave the comfort of Babylon and return home, bringing offerings and supplies for the work ahead. The takeaway: God is always faithful to his word. When he opens a door, he always provides the people and the resources needed to accomplish his purpose. 1 Corinthians 1:18 through 2:5. This message points to Christ on the cross. Seems like sheer silliness to those hell-bent on destruction. But for those on the way of salvation, it makes perfect sense. This is the way God works, and most powerfully, as it turns out, it's written. I'll turn a conventional wisdom on its head. I'll expose so-called experts as shams. So where can you find someone truly wise, truly educated, truly intelligent in this day and age? Hasn't God exposed it all? Pretentious nonsense. Since the world, in all fancy wisdom, never had a clue when it came to knowing God, God in his wisdom took delight in using what the world considered stupid, preaching all things, to bring those who trust him in the way of salvation. While Jews clamor for miraculous demonstrations and Greeks go in for philosophical wisdom, we go right for proclaiming Christ the crucified. Jews treated this like an anti-miracle. The Greeks pass it on off as absurd. But to us who are personally called by God himself, both Jews and Greeks, Christ is God's ultimate sacrifice. Christ is God's ultimate miracle and wisdom, all wrapped up in one. Human wisdom is so cheap, so impotent next to the seeming absurdity of God. Human strength can't begin to compete with God's weakness. Take a good look, friends, at who you were when you got called into this life. I don't see many of the brightest and the best among you. Not many influential, not many from high society families. Isn't it obvious that God deliberately chose men and women that the culture overlooked and exploits and abused, chose the nobodies to expose the hollow pretensions of the somebodies that make it quite clear that none of you can get by with blowing your own horn before God? Everything we have, right thinking and right living, a clean slate and fresh start, comes from God by the way of Jesus Christ. That's why we have the saying, if you're going to blow a horn, blow a trumpet for God. Right thinking, right living, a clean slate and fresh start comes from God by the way of Jesus Christ. Well, that's just telling you right there you need Jesus Christ. So, I mean, why the Jews still don't get this? I know they're living in the Old Testament, but you'll remember, friends, that when I first came to you to let you in on God's sheer genius, I didn't try to impress you with polished speeches and the latest philosophy. I deliberately kept it plain and simple. First, Jesus and who he is, then Jesus and what he did, Jesus crucified. I was unsure of how to go about this and felt totally inadequate. I was scared to death. If you want the truth of it, and so nothing I said could have impressed you or anyone else. But the message came through anyway. God's spirit and God's power did it, which made it clear that your life of faith is responsible to God's power, not to some fancy mental or emotional footwork by me or anyone else. Breakdown 1 Corinthians 1:18 through 2:5, Paul explains that the message of the cross seems foolish to those who reject God, but to the believers it is very powerful of God. God often chooses what the world considers weak and insignificant to display his glory, so no one can boast in themselves. Paul reminds the Corinthians that he didn't rely on impressive speeches, but on the power of the Holy Spirit. The takeaway is our faith should rest on God's power, not human wisdom or talent. The cross is enough. God often chooses what the world considers weak and insignificant to display his glory, so no one can boast in themselves. Ouch. That's good. Psalms 27:7 through 14. Listen to God. I'm calling at the top of my lungs. Be good to me. Answer me. When my heart whispers, seek God, my whole being replied, I'm seeking him. Don't hide from me now. You've always been right here, there. You've always been right there for me. Don't turn your back on me now. Don't throw me out. Don't abandon me. You've always kept the doors open. My father and mother walked out and left me, and God took me in. Point me down your highway, God. Direct me along a well-lit, lighted street. Show my enemies whose side you're on. Don't throw me to the dogs, those liars who are out to get me, filling the air with their threats. I'm sure now I'll see God's goodness in the exuberant earth. Stay with God. Take heart. Don't quit. I'll say it again. Stay with God. Breakdown of Psalms 27:7 through 14. David cries out to God for mercy and guidance during a difficult time. Even though enemies surround him, his greatest desire is to remain close to the Lord. He ends up with one of the Bible's greatest encouragements. Wait for the Lord, be strong, and let your heart take courage. The takeaway: when life feels uncertain, seek God's presence first, trust his timing, and courageously wait for him to act. Proverbs 20:22 and 23. Don't ever say, I'll get you for that. Wait for God. He'll settle the score. God hates cheating in the marketplace. Rigged scales are an outrage. Breakdown of Proverbs 20:22 and 23. Solomon teaches us not to seek revenge. Instead, trust God to bring justice in his perfect way and perfect time. He also reminds us that dishonest business practices and deceit are offensive to the Lord because he values integrity. The takeaway: leave vengeance to God and live with honesty, integrity, honor. Leave vengeance to God and live with honesty. Integrity honors the Lord even when shortcuts seem tempting. Nobody told you today that I love you and I appreciate you. We will see you tomorrow. It'll be August the 6th. I love you. I love you. I love you. We'll have a better than good night. Oh, tonight was really short. We'll see you tomorrow.